if you're not going to be a true progressive in 2026, we don't need to hear from you. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit what you have to say on any policy. Wanted to have this conversation not just by myself yapping at a camera for an hour and a half, and this will be the first of many, but we finally got Planet Kai on the stream today.
Oh my god, it's so crazy hearing you call me Planet Kai because it's like, nigga, you know me in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy because I've heard, like, I guess I'm just now starting to get used to people calling me Planet Kai in real life because it's happened a couple of times, either with people who've known me through mutual, like we went to the same school,
Yeah.
but we never talked in person, or like I have like a TikTok not too long ago go viral. And the nigga came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, you're at Planet Kai." Or that happened when I worked at Starbucks too. So
You
it's
put the
like,
ad in there?
yes. And so now it's like hearing my nearest and dearest friend call me Planet Kai. Nigga, you know me by my government name.
Who knows? It's just posterity.
Yeah, guys, I'm
Just
here with Nick Swifty.
all right. That's
Thank you,
that's
though.
that's 0% my name though. Just for a little bit of context before we dive into it, the Texas Senate race. Currently, Texas has two piece of shit senators. One is Ted Cruz. We fucking hate him. The other guy, John Cornyn. He's a little bit less known. He's a little bit less mainstream, but he's just as much of a piece of shit. But he's running for re-election in 2026. There are some people in the Republican primary that are honestly even more scummy than he is, which is crazy. But on the Democratic side, there's actually a bit of a competition between there's a guy that's been kind of campaigning for this for the past like 4 or 5 months or so, maybe 6 months, and his name is James Tallarico. And then more recently, Jasmine Crockett also joined the race. I think she was initially gearing up to just like run. I think she was either going to rerun for her district or she was going to run for governor a couple years. I think. But she changed her mind and decided to run for Senate this year. And there was a bit of like back and forth. There was a bit of tension with that between the two campaigns because apparently there was some communication around that where, the James Tallarico's team thought that they thought that Jasmine Crockett wasn't going to be in the race. They thought it was going to be Colin Allred. Now Colin Allred has run for governor once. I think he's run for Senate as well, and then he eventually ran for a congressional seat, and I think won that race, and now he's in a congressional seat, or maybe it's like a state, like House representative seat. I forget exactly what position. He was in the race for Senate at a certain point last year, but then he decided not to. And then, Jasmine Crockett stepped in and announced that she was going to run a month or so ago. It was like right before the new year, I believe. So, the reason why we're bringing this up, the reason why we're talking about this, is because recently, on, I believe, January 12th, there was some correspondence between James Tallarico and a TikToker. I forget her handle, but her name is Morgan. And she alleged that James Tallarico made a comment about He basically said something along, and I'm gonna paraphrase a little bit, but um, he said that he came into this race expecting to run against. He said he was expecting to run against a mediocre black man and not a strong, intelligent black woman or something like that. And understandably, a lot of people were upset at that. Personally, and the other side of this is like none of this is corroborated, and it's also from somebody who's not very like she doesn't have a lot of I'll just say she's not the most trustworthy source, because she also was trying to say that James Tallarico got her TikTok account banned after the fact, which is stupid. Sorry, that's ridiculous. But regardless, there's been a whole bunch of backlash over this. Colin Allred himself put a video out, and he was, mad about it. Anyways, that's just a bit of a synopsis. It's for context leading into this. But I wanted to watch this Majority Report segment because they cover it all. And then, Kai, I wanted to kind of hash this out with you because, obviously, this is Texas politics. This is what, I mean, this race, I think this election, or the primary, rather, is in, 2 weeks or something. So, this is pretty pertinent. And I'll kind of give my opinion on it after, and I want to hear yours as well and dive into it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. So
also, everybody make sure they're registered to vote.
Yes, make sure you get registered to vote.
Register to vote, or you will begin to cough in 3 days.
Also, if you live in the city, if you have any barrier to voting, try your best to make plans to vote. That's especially with early voting. Obviously, I think this race is being held fairly early on purpose. I mean, the amount of voter suppression that's going to take place this year is going to be fucking insane.
Yes.
Get into that. I think the general elections are going to be a bit dicey with ICE and whatnot, but yeah. Just make plans.
Cheeto Man.
Yes. That is, I think, currently the goal, to have enough of a majority, not just with establishment Democrats, but with enough actual progressives who want to impeach not just President Trump, but the entirety of his cabinet, I think, is where we need to be aiming right now. As far as practical, I mean, obviously there's plenty of other things that I think we need to aim for, but I think that's the first step that we need to take is let's impeach and prosecute our pedophile in chief. About it.
Well, Colin Allred, I interviewed back in my days at TYT when he was running as a Justice Democrat, and he won that race, and he wasn't taking corporate PAC money, and he was a lot more progressive than he ended up being. He ended up leaving Congress and running for Senate and losing really, really badly. And I'm doing David Griscom's. I'm really excited about this. His The Myth of Red Texas. I've been reading his book because I'm going to be doing his talk, and his opening introduction is literally about all of the failures of Allred's campaign, and it's on display in this story.
He's a former football
player.
Right.
Yeah, he'll remind you of that all the time.
Well, in fact, he's actually recorded something from his home gym. Yeah. It appears like
manliness,
and he can lift what appears to be a lot of weight. But this is a little bit too heavy for him, and that is
well done,
attempting to take offense. And I don't know if we should present this before or after. I think we should present it before. He is responding to a claim made by a TikTok influencer.
Yep.
Who was on Instagram, who is claiming, who said that Tallarico, running for against Crockett for the Senate nomination in the Democratic Party had said something disparaging about Colin Allred,
I have
who's
it
not
here.
in the race.
Yes. Apparently on January 12th, this is what this TikTok creator said. She was in a private conversation, one-on-one, with James Tallarico, who seems like kind of a Boy Scout, but okay. And he apparently, according to her, said that he signed up to run against, quote, a mediocre black man, not a, quote, formidable, intelligent black woman, referring to Jasmine Crockett, and then being disparaging about the Allred. But, I mean, the black man part seems okay. That wouldn't be great. But his campaign was objectively mediocre, and that might be putting it kindly.
Yeah, which part is the objectionable
Well,
part?
let's just take it at face value that she claims he said this in that way. And then she also claims, according to this exchange, here, put this up, that Tallarico's team deleted her Instagram as retribution. Now,
Reliable narrator here.
I will say,
Just for some context, there are a lot of people who are coming out and being like, "Oh, well, I believe her." Like, what there have been a lot of people that have taken the stance of this is a black woman who is saying this about James Tallarico. It's Black History Month. I'm gonna believe a black woman, and that's fair and that's cool. But if we take what she claimed he said. What he said about Colin Allred had nothing to do with him being black, right? I think using the qualifier of them being black is like 2016 liberal speak. Like, I don't know. It's stupid to make that qualifier anyways, because I think we need to look at politicians at more of a objective lens and remove them from their identity a little bit. Now, obviously, when it comes to... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, the first thing that's popping up in my brain is, why does that matter?
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's not about his accomplishments as a black man. It's about his mediocre political career.
Okay.
He has not been great. Like, he's one of the centrist Democrats who, they were talking about how he at first wasn't taking any corporate PAC money and he was more progressive. He has since taken lots of corporate PAC money. So immediately I see that as, he's kind of a sellout. On top of that, he also was one of the more centrist liberals who came out and was doing the whole anti-trans, oh well, we don't need trans women in sports type, all that bullshit. And it's first off, I don't think we need any conversation past that, right? If you're not going to be a true progressive in 2026, we don't need to fucking hear from you. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit what you have to say on any policy, or on the race even, right? If you're not going to stand up and be a fucking progressive, I don't give a shit. But past that, yeah, his campaign just sucks. He didn't have any real, he just was wanting to kind of do the whole middle ground, oh well, I'm gonna work for affordability, but also I'm gonna concede to the Republicans on trans people. That's crazy. That's a losing strategy. Kamala Harris is the epitome of that, right? I think she talked about affordability a little bit, but she was capitulating and saying, we're going to have a strong border and a funded military and a funded, immigration force. And she didn't back down from funding Israel, all these things. And it's those are the reasons she lost. And I think there are a lot of people, especially when it comes to Texas liberals, that are quick to blame it on flat out racism and misogyny. I'm not going to say that has zero weight, that isn't part of the equation, because I think it is for sure. But the main reason Kamala Harris lost is because she came out saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna deport more people than Donald Trump." You're only losing votes saying that. And I think I don't know. It's a similar situation with somebody like Colin Allred. Coming out and being anti-trans is only going to lose you votes because you're not going to be more transphobic than the Republican guy, than fucking Ted Cruz, right? And on top of that, you're only going to lose votes, and you're going to make any liberals or progressives less likely to vote at all by saying some shit like that. And so I think James Tallarico's statement, and I don't like James Tallarico either. I'm going to preface that as well. But his statement that Colin Allred was mediocre, I don't think had anything to do with him being black, and I think it's a very fair statement to make. I think James Tallarico is mediocre as well, but that's besides the specific point around people getting mad at him for saying what he said.
I don't really feel like what he said personally was too crazy. And
I
that's
mean,
a personal preference. I
Yeah.
just kind of feel like it's one of those things where it's like, why the fuck would you say that? Like, what
yeah,
would
it's
possess you to
definitely
say
like
that?
bad taste to frame it that way. It's not. It's like I said, it's some 2016 liberal speak, like framing it within like black identity. Like if you want to make those comments, just make those comments. I don't think it was like racist necessarily. I just think it was a poor way to put it.
There was nothing racist about that statement. It was just
Yeah.
a very, very weird thing to say. Like, it's kind of like one of those things with, like, if I'm like, usually, like, I was gonna come up with an example, but it's not politically correct. But
I mean,
I was gonna say, I was I was gonna say it's kind of like that was just a very maybe just politically incorrect to say what he was trying to say because I felt like he could have said that a different way.
yeah, I think that's fair.
But I don't think that makes him a racist.
If this dude, as one of the contenders for the Democratic nomination in Texas, has the ability to get individual Instagram accounts deleted, this guy's got a very high power level. What's he going to be able to do when he gets into Senate? But regardless of all that, so you have to believe that Tallarico said that Allred was a mediocre black man as opposed to a really talented,
Formidable, intelligent
black woman. You have to believe that's exactly what he said as opposed to a mediocre candidate or whatever. Yeah. And Allred apparently has taken offense to it, and he's trying to make it like it's not just he feels personally insulted.
This is civil rights too.
This is a civil rights issue.
Morning, everybody. It's cold out here, and I got some steam coming off my head because I'm, just finished my workout.
Just a warning. This video is corny as fuck. I'm sorry.
He's also very jarring to look at.
He's got a little bit of a cop look going on.
Yeah, very like he kind of reminds me of that one cop that used to just chill around our high school. And used to be cool with all the badass kids.
Oh,
He kind of
I
had like a
vaguely remember who
Neanderthal
you're
head.
talking about.
He was just
Neanderthal
always there.
head.
Yeah, he had Neanderthal head. He talked in a black accent. He was cool with all the badass kids. He was cool as fuck, but he was just always there.
Yeah. Yeah, SROs are. But yeah, that's what he looks like for sure.
Yes.
I understand.
Wait.
Just finished my workout. Got some steam coming out of my ears too. I understand.
That's the people on the stream. They have a fucking soundboard.
Had the temerity and the audacity to say to a black woman that he had signed up to run against a mediocre,
Temerity and audacity, 2 synonyms.
meaning me, not a formidable, intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett. Let me just break this down into a few segments here. First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man. Okay?
Backhanded. That's what I meant. Backhanded.
Yeah.
It was very backhanded.
Yeah, for sure. And like the fact that he's not in the race is kind of like the nail in the coffin. Like, there's not necessarily a need to say that, especially if you are a politician, right? You got to keep in mind that like everything you say is going to be studied under a microscope.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what he said isn't necessarily wrong, but yeah, it's just like there's not really a point in saying it. Even if you're expressing frustration about, you know, thought you were going to have an easy primary, and now you don't because Jasmine Crockett is like infinitely more popular. But he wasn't wrong. I can't necessarily feel bad about it.
I don't do anything. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's like I find it hard to care about the statement. I don't know. Because ultimately, I think both of these candidates blow dick anyways, but
like, these niggas literally blow dick for Skittles.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We're sick and tired of it. We're tired of folks using praise for black women to mask criticism for black men. That's not good for our community. It's not
Pause
good.
it for 1 second.
It doesn't work. We know what you're doing.
Listen, I am completely open to the idea that people use praise of black women to denigrate, to tear down black men. But is that a thing?
That's happening here?
I mean, I'm saying, like, he's saying, like, this seems to be like an ongoing.
Within the Democratic Party, I think there's people who say like black women are our base, they're really great, and then cast a side eye at black men for not turning out for the Democrats as much as
I guess. I mean,
black women
the last person who made that argument was Barack Obama.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. This is like when like Bernie, ahead of 2 Iowa primaries in 2016 and 2020, all of a sudden news stories come out saying he's sexist, and then Hillary loses in 2016, and people are saying, well, actually maybe she lost because America's not ready to elect a woman. And then in 2020, I'm not going to say who said he was saying things about a woman can't win, but then flash forward to 2024, and Kamala Harris is losing, and all of a sudden the standard complaint about all the people is that, well, America's not ready to elect a woman once again. Like, these sorts of things, even if we take at face value that Tallarico said exactly that, which I don't, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say it. Like, the idea that we're going to get scandalized by this sort of talk about politics like this, I think is just a little bit childish.
And it's as if, like, he wanted to sort of say, like, I'm also going to help Tallarico out by doing my mediocre best on this video, because it really is just like it feels like his heart really is not in it. Maybe he should have done it before he worked out. I don't know. But let's keep going here.
While also tearing down a black man. Okay? We've seen that play before. We're sick and tired of it. We're tired of folks using praise for black women to mask criticism for black men. That's not good for our community. It's not good. It doesn't work, and we know what you're doing.
It hurts your feelings, Colin.
Well,
that's the problem.
First off, he said it to supposedly to one individual. He has already come out and apologized, and he was really just like leveling criticism at your capacity to be a candidate, which I think he must concede. That's why he dropped out.
But he didn't even really apologize. I mean, he apologized, but he admits that he described Congressman Allred's method of campaigning as mediocre, but his life in service or not, I would never attack him on the basis of race. I have no problem believing that he would say that his campaign was mediocre, because that's honestly a nice thing to say, and Tallarico seems like a pretty nice guy, regardless of, you know, like, well, all things equal, so we don't necessarily. I think you can make a case about, say, the issue of Israel, like Jasmine Crockett versus Talarico. Talarico has taken some Adelson money for gambling. Crockett had support from Israel-aligned groups in the past, but she's
about had?
shifted and been better on this front. Say, I still think Talarico.
All right. Hold on. I think as recently as like October.
Understand. I also think that if people are going to vote as it relates to foreign affairs, which typically is not how people vote. People typically vote based on how are the gas.
That's why people didn't vote in the 2024 presidential election. I'll just put it that way. People, liberal leaning left didn't vote, and this isn't even me. Like I did vote, and I did vote for Kamala Harris because at the end of the day, I think she's like 2 steps back from where Donald Trump is. She's not much better. I don't even think better is the right term to use. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to criticize somebody who didn't vote for Kamala Harris because of her, basically her open support of the genocide, right? She didn't back down from that shit at all during her campaign. And I think that it's foolish to say that people aren't going to vote on foreign policy today in 2026 or even in 2025 when this was recorded.
Prices treating me right now? How are my housing costs treating me right now? What's my job situation looking like? Those are the things that typically drive our elections and how people decide how they're going to vote. When you start talking about foreign affairs, if that is going to be kind of like the precipice for determining whether you vote or who you vote for, then I want people to really dig in to foreign affairs, right? Like, and ask the question, which I think is a fair question. I think it's a fair question of all the money, is to ask the question of, well, why do we send money to Israel? Like, what is that about? And learn about the fact that this is an allyship that existed before I was around, before, well, no, the president was a baby. He was still around though. But it is an enduring relation.
There's something. Hold on. Can you pause this for a second? There's something about Jasmine Crockett and fucking Jason Lee being in the same room that's so dark-sided.
I don't even know who that guy is.
Jason Lee is much like other CIA plants and psyops in the black community, and is just an evil gay light-skinned man. That's all I can say. Just messy as hell, evil as hell. Continuously and consistently like platforms people who don't need to be platformed. Like he is what I would equivalate equivalate equivalate, is that the word I'm trying to use? Equate, thank you. Equate to like a black light bright Perez Hilton. He's one of the shade room blacks, but he owns the neighborhood talk, which is like the shade room's messier cousin.
Messier
Yeah.
than the Shade Room?
Yes. This thing with the shade room is extremely anti-black. I would say the neighborhood talk is slightly less anti-black and less extremely like okay, like the thing with the shade room is that it's really big on its Christian values, and like they don't fuck with Doja Cat or anyone, like any kind of dark symbolism of Satan or anything. They'll like flip out. Neighborhood talk is it's more lenient on that shit. Like they just talk about everything that's messy. But the shade room think they're holier than thou. The Tyler Perry Hennessy blacks. Shade room blacks. Hennessy blacks. The malt liquor blacks. That's why too, also, like, as someone who I I feel like there are very valid criticisms about Jasmine Crockett that I will never what's the word? I will never like be like, oh fuck you. Like I feel like criticisms of Jasmine Crockett are very valid. But it's just something about seeing her with Jason Lee that's not. I'm like, girl, we trying to escape the country ghetto, uneducated allegations, and how here she is, with Jason Lee, with Jason Lee.
I think also that's part of the psyop, like American university system level of education versus like, do you really understand how the world works, and do you understand why certain things happen, why certain things are bad? And I
Yeah.
think that's the difference with Jasmine Crockett, because she is educated on a formal level,
Yes.
right? She's very
Yes.
educated. But
Yes.
she thinks that just because we've had an allyship with Israel for 70 plus years, that we just need to hold on to it. And I mean, I'll keep playing the clip, but like, that's fucking ridiculous. If you can't look at like if you replace what she's saying, and like, this is for people who would maybe are a little confused and searching for a little bit more context. Replace what she's saying when she says Israel with South Africa, and during the context of apartheid South Africa. But on top of that, they're also doing an active genocide. They're both an apartheid state, and they're doing an unlimited genocide with 21st century weaponry paid for explicitly by our tax dollars. That's what's going on, right? So this whole, I'll just
and learning the history of the region in and of itself. And I would argue that the most disputed land in the world is that land, and it goes beyond the Palestinians
Nope.
and the Israelis. But I mean, you can go back.
Oh,
to the
it doesn't.
Romans. So one
It
of the
doesn't,
areas
because if you're trying to take it out of that context, you're ignoring what the fuck is actually happening to the Palestinians. Period. Because like, it doesn't go further than Palestinians deserve statehood, and they deserve dignity, and they deserve to not be subjected to an open air concentration camp, and settler colonial violence in the West Bank. Like, that's it. There's no, oh well, it's deeper than that. It goes back into history, and it's like, no, it doesn't. If you're doing that, you just got fucking duped, or you yourself are part of the psyop. And this is why I think Jasmine Crockett is, she's one of those politicians. She's on the line for me. I can't tell if she's gotten duped or if she herself is a Hosberist, if she is actually doing Israeli propaganda because she's a Zionist. I don't know yet. It's because, like, I have a feeling that she just got tricked, and that's what I want to believe, because that gives me hope that she can change. But I can't shake the feeling that maybe she is in it for more sinister reasons. I don't know. Yeah, that's just. I don't know if you have anything to add. Oh, you're muted.
My bad.
You're
Sorry, I
good.
thought you could hear me this entire time. I don't
No,
even
you're good.
remember what I was going to say, but just know that I agreed with you. Like, I literally was
appreciate it.
talking, and I was like,
Damn.
damn, I'm muted. Well, shit. It's not your fault. That was my fault.
things for me. If I'm being like 1,000 right now, which my team will beat me up about this later. But if I'm being 1,000 about this, when you think about and because of the conversations that I've had, if the United States says we will throw away our 75 plus year relationship with Israel because we don't like their leader, then if we end up with Trump, we set a precedent for all these other allies to throw us away, because I have heard from other ally nations.
And okay, a couple things. One, it goes past their leader. It's not just Benjamin Netanyahu. It's the whole fucking thing, right? Israel's existence is to replace the Palestinians. It is to uproot the entire ethnic group, and this also extends to the entire Middle East, right? It's an ideological, like, you wouldn't say that, oh, the only problem with Nazi Germany is Hitler, right? Obviously he was their leader, but everyone that was involved in the Nazi movement was embedded in that ideology. And so you have to remove any semblance of power from that ideology at its root. You can't just like remove the leader and then hope that things get better, right? Now, and here's the thing: if Benjamin Netanyahu, this is an equivalence. Shout out any Hasanabi heads watching this right now or in post. But this is an equivalence made by Hassan. If Benjamin Netanyahu were to conduct, if he were to conduct things in Gaza as China conducted their cultural genocide of the Uyghur population in Xinjiang, the entire Western world would praise Benjamin Netanyahu as this great peacemaker. They would look at him as if, like, they would think he was a genius, right? It's not about, for people like Jasmine Crockett, it's not about the fact that Palestinians are facing such clear abuses of human rights. It's more so the fact that we can see it so blatantly because they're just dropping bombs on kids' heads and burning them alive and starving them, right? It's because it's so blatant. That's the only thing that she cares about. And that's the problem. If you don't have a principled stance regarding the human rights of Palestinians, there's a problem there. And again, that's why I'm on the fence. That's why I still don't know. I hope that she can change. Very optimistic, because I do think that I haven't said this yet, but I do think that she has the best chance in this Senate race at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm not very optimistic about what happens after she gets elected. Because she also hasn't come out and said that she wants to abolish ICE either. And that's an issue as well. Abolishment needs to be the centrist position. But right now it's still the progressive position. At least as far as politicians go. Obviously, as far as the general public goes, it's very popular. A lot of people want to abolish ICE. They want to get ICE the fuck out of here. But the progressive position needs to become, let's prosecute every single one of these fucking people from top to bottom. But the centrist position needs to be abolish ICE. So if you can't even arrive at abolish ICE, you're still center right. You're still putting on a show. So I'm bringing all this. This is a complete aside from the original thing that we were talking about, but
that they don't fucking like Trump, right?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even bring that up. All these other foreign nations, they don't like Trump, sure, but what they're realizing is that the relationship that they have with America is completely exploitative and that they are getting cheated, right? Trump is just doing it to such a degree that it's become obvious now, right? Kind of the same as with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. But yeah, all these countries should be mad at America. America is exploiting every single European Union nation. And I think they're right to be pissed off. And they should want to reestablish their own sovereignty, because they don't have any without the United States of America. And I think that this also blind faith in the United States is like, oh, well, we deserve allyship from all these countries. We deserve to have a place, in the economy of every single, European nation, South American nation, Central American nation. I mean, it's ridiculous. And we can get into another conversation with that regarding, the capitalist mindset, but small foreign policy diatribe.
If we lose
Hold on, before you
For sure.
I was gonna say, before you press play, sometimes it's like a certain point, especially as a black person who just is experiencing a lot of fatigue when it comes to like the political state of the world. It's just like it gets to a certain point where after being so informed for so long, I'm just kind of like, damn, we're actually in hell. Like we're actually in hell. Like not even joking. Like for people who like to all my people out there who are agnostic, who are atheists, whatever, whatever. Um, whether or not if you believe that hell could be a physical place or not, this has to be the hell that they described in the Bible because I always like my brain is consistently feeling like it's on fire when describing what is going on currently. It makes my ass itch so bad. Like this is so uncomfortable and
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking.
yeah.
Great googly moogly.
It's
Okay.
depressing to keep up with.
It's very.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and like complain about it because suburban white kid who's only tapped in for. So I have like
I was
zero room to complain about it, but
as a black woman whose entire life has been inherently political since I first popped out the cooch and I first gained consciousness and had to realize, the impact of white supremacy and how it directly affected me. I can understand why some black people are like, oh, I'm not into politics without understanding that, nigga, you cannot be into politics, but politics are definitely into you because everything is inherently political. But I was going to say, I know for me, as well as another, like a lot of other, I know it's for me, as well as a lot of other black women having experienced this fatigue of just like, damn, like it's always something. Like always, not even just surviving, because surviving is a lot in itself. But outside of surviving, you're also always having to stay informed about this and this and this. And not only are you also dealing with what's going on in your personal life, but you're also having to deal with the effects of what's also going on in other places of the world. And it's just like, damn, nigga,
yeah,
can we have a break? Can we calm down? Like, I understand a lot of the times we romanticize the Obama administration, but I feel like that's just mainly because we were children.
yeah, yeah.
But
Looking
that's
back
the
on his
last.
administration is sad because a lot of people still view Obama as like greatest presidents of all time, which that's a misnomer
Yeah.
because every single American president done some level of crime against humanity. But I mean, yeah, Obama was the drone strike president. He was the deporter in chief. Like he, you know, from a material perspective, he's not he's not as bad as Donald Trump, but they're in the same genre. They're in the same playbook, right? Donald Trump is just taking it to the extreme, right? Um,
I was gonna say
and
I don't feel like Obama's presidency created as much as such a cultural divide.
yeah,
Like,
for sure. That's
it's
partially that's because, and that's something that before something that was revealed in like this recent dump in the Epstein files was that Jeffrey Epstein um was one of the he helped found the politics like thing in 4chan, and that's where
mhm.
QAnon was started, and that's where a lot of these culture war issues that we see today were really like fostered. Obviously, like people have been racist and homophobic and xenophobic this whole time, but it's over the past decade, it has really been turned up to 11, and that's why we've been able to. That's why the Trump administration has been able to do as much as they want to do, and that's why Donald Trump was able to get reelected.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean it's all really a psyop, to be honest. Anyone that gets mad at woke, right? Yeah, you got fucking played. Um, but yeah, I mean it's really unfortunate. I think during Obama's administration, I mean people were still trying to make issues out of anything he did. And then there was also criticism from the left that didn't see the light of day. Uh, Other than, I mean, there were protests. There were people on the ground. If you were touching grass, you knew about it. But for most Americans, that wasn't the case. Mainstream media would not cover that shit. But there are plenty of people protesting Obama's deportation methods. The only difference is that he was doing it at the border. He was not deporting people from inside the country. But he was still deporting. He deported over 1 million people. And like separated them from their family at the border. So not the right way to go about that at all. But you're right. The culture war has been much more divided over the past decade. And yeah, I mean, it's led us to where we're at now. And it's also created a lot of trust issues within like the liberal base. Especially with black liberals, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing with this situation with James Talarico and Jasmine Crockett. Is like, that's what I said earlier. It's like I understand why people are frustrated with the thing that he said allegedly. Again, it's not like confirmed, but I understand why people are quick to jump on that and be like, "Oh yeah, fuck this guy, he's racist." Like, I can't exactly get mad because it makes sense, right? There's not a lot of trust, like especially with black liberals. I think there's a lot of trust issues. But at the end of the day, I think the point I'm trying to make here is that Jasmine Crockett does not have our best interest in mind, and the connection between her opinion on Israel and our material conditions in the U.S. I mean, there are so many ways that we could talk about this, but the Christian national movement, the Zionist movement, and the billionaire takeover are all interconnected. And so to remove one, you have to remove all three. And the last thing I said, the billionaire takeover, is rooted in capitalism. And if you can't bring yourself out of this allegiance to capitalism, then we're never going to get rid of the Christian nationalist problem or the Zionist problem. And that's my main issue with Jasmine Crockett, is that she is super beholden to corporate donors, and she's a potential Zionist. If not, she just thinks that we need to keep doing capitalism with Israel as an ally. So either way, like that's, and because of that, she's not going to be effective in combating Christian nationalism. And that's my fear. With her being elected. But anyways, almost Debbie Eppin.
Now I'm looking at the vulnerability of us, the people that elected me, and I am concerned about whether or not, like, we live in a bubble. You talk about bubbles, we live in a bubble. Because on both sides of us, we got water, and north and south, we got pretty decent friends, right? Like, we closer with the people up north than we are the people down south, but either way, we got friends on both sides, right? That don't mean that we are liked in this world. Like, a lot of people hate us. But it's about being able to flex. Like, oh, do you want to play with us? It's like, think about, like, those people that used to go to your school and they had, like, the biggest family. They had all the brothers and sisters. If you decided you was gonna fight one, you was gonna have to fight the whole family.
Right.
So you like, forget that, I ain't finna do that, right? But like, if it's just one kid, we may go jump you, right? That's the difference. And so for a lot of us, it's history. It's also thinking through possibilities in the future. And those are the conversations that nobody really wants to have.
Well, I mean, plenty of people want to have that conversation. I think you're just not prepared to have that conversation. Using that as she's basically saying, like, when she says thinking about potential situations in the future, I think that's selfish as fuck, because I think you're thinking about the money that you're getting and the power that you have, and you know that if you flip on Israel, you're gonna lose that shit real quick unless you can really, stir up some grassroots support in Texas. Like, you're gonna lose that shit immediately. So yeah, that just sounds selfish as fuck to me. I don't know about you. I think that's kind of bullshit.
Yes.
And also, like, yeah, I think there are plenty of countries that are rightfully mad at the United States, and I think that until we do something as a nation to rebuild those connections, and like there are plenty of countries that we are literally starving. Right? Iran is a great example. Cuba is another example. Venezuela, all these countries, we are sanctioning the fuck out of them. We are starving them economically, and to a point, like in Iran, literally starving people because of our economic sanctions, because we control the global economy, at least in this moment, right? I think that could change in the next decade, but we control the global economy, and so we have this power to like exclude countries from said global economy. Doing that is harmful. It's from the perspective of somebody who's like pro democracy and pro liberty, right? It's completely undemocratic. It's completely antithetical to human rights, and it's only to extract more value out of these relationships for ourselves. And so, and that's also why, like, the whole, like, people that want to come at anyone for criticizing Jasmine Crockett as this or anything, I think you lack the critical thinking with these deeper points, and why her politics and policies suck so bad. And I get it, like, she is not on paper, publicly, she's a fighter, right? She has a lot to say, and she's very outspoken about President Trump, about other Texas politicians, other people in Congress, and that's great. That's cool. Do your thing. And I get also the representation aspect of it. Seeing a black woman who is outspoken in that manner and is successful in her own right through education and her career and whatnot, that's good and fine. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to engage with conversations about politicians specifically and remove those other aspects, because otherwise you're never going to have a productive conversation around politics. And I think if you can't do that, you don't. I think you should just not involve yourself in political conversations. You probably need to read some books, if I'm being honest. But that's just my opinion.
Fair.
Statements are a lot better on Gaza and more human.
I think they're
But
both meh.
they're both not that great, but okay, we're deciding between these two. My point is just like, all things equal, Talarico has a better shot in the general election, because if this is the kind of politics that she's pursuing,
Maybe.
and the
I don't know.
kind of strategy she's pursuing, enlisting Allred to do this thing for her, it is not a winning strategy in what could be the more winnable, one of the more winnable races in Texas in a long time. And you go to Jasmine Crockett's website, does she still not have an issues page? I'm pretty sure she still doesn't have an issues page.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, I don't say anything about corporate money out of politics. So talking about affordability without talking about corporate overreach is kind
And Edinger Menta made this great point on Twitter last night, like about how her brand was attacking Republicans prior to this race, and that was what was successful about her. She could have done what Graham Plattner's doing, which is just like running against Susan Collins and acting like you're the presumptive nominee essentially, and going after Republicans. That would have been a pretty strong strategy for her specific skill set. But what she has decided to do is lean into dividing the Democratic electorate in the state of Texas along like racial lines. Yep. And it's compounded by her previous comments about Latino Trump voters having a slave mentality. Do I think that that is a good strategy and the best candidate to take on Cornyn in Texas?
That's something else I wanted to talk about. Now, I am not going to co-opt the term slave mentality at all because I think that's a fucking crazy thing to say.
You bet not.
What I will say is that when it comes to a mentality that is trapped within the confines of a certain system, saying that Latino Trump voters are beholden to the Republican Party and beholden to Trump without talking about captivity to capitalism is a bit ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. This could be discussed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that there is a general, we'll call it peasant mindset when it comes to capitalism in this country, and that looks different in different communities. I think it's most egregious when it comes to white people because obviously white people have had access to the levers of power for the entirety of this country's history, and so obviously capitalism in the hands of white people is going to be the worst. But there's also conversation around other minority groups being beholden to capitalism, even if they are against the things that capitalism has brought about, such as slavery or segregation or the carceral state or even foreign policy, such as our ties with Israel. All of these things are products of capitalism, products of the house that we live in, the neoliberal house that was built by Ronald Reagan, or even before, the capitalist system that allowed for the triangular trade, for the transatlantic slave trade to thrive. And we have yet to undo that in this country. We have yet to truly uproot those the causes, the roots of that. So I think it's just a bit ridiculous to kind of go after specifically Latino Trump voters in that fashion, because at the end of the day, they're voting for Trump 9 times out of 10 because of the economy, because he had better messaging than Kamala Harris. And I know, like, obviously for somebody like people like us, we look at that and we're like, well, that's fucking crazy. Like, I mean, it's Donald Trump. But like a lot of people don't have that perspective, especially in the moderate space, in the centrist space, like the true centrist, not like the politicians who label themselves as centrist. I think that's what middle America, Americans that just aren't that political. A lot of them got duped by Donald Trump. And I think this is a good way to characterize this, is that Zoran Mamdani had, like, I forget, there's like a ratio of like Trump voters that voted for him. Yeah, almost 1 in 10 Mamdani voters were also Trump voters. So I think this is a perfect way to characterize what I'm trying to say here. That can speak to a lot of these Latino voters who maybe weren't made aware of the level of rhetoric surrounding mass deportations, and also people that are here legally that are now realizing that ICE isn't going after illegal immigrants, they're just going after immigrants in general. But before the election and during the election cycle, they really were convinced that Trump was going to make the economy better. Now, obviously, that was a fucking lie, but that's just the facts of the situation. And so I don't think that there's any point, any reason in criticizing those people for voting for Trump without having a conversation around our cuckoldry to capitalism, right? There's no basis to that conversation unless you are taking an anti-capitalist stance. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's completely counterproductive. I think she's like alienating Latino voters from her campaign entirely by saying something like that, and it's just disappointing here. And by the standard of people out there defending her, or going after James Tallarico for what he said, I think what she said about Latino voters is just as bad, if not a little bit worse. But it's just crazy to say like that.
Texas, absolutely
I
not.
think
All right.
okay.
My bad.
I think actually, do I want to say what I think?
Yeah,
Because
go
what I
for it.
think isn't politically correct.
Disagree with me. Go ahead.
It's
Chop it
not
up.
that I disagree with you. It's like I feel like saying, what did she say that
Uh,
Latino voters who voted for Donald Trump were slaves or had the slave mentality? What was the
yeah.
phrasing?
Yeah, slave mentality.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say she wrong. I mean, you can't say that shit, but I can't, nigga. Y'all saucy dancing for Trump, nigga. Y'all are bachata-ing for Trump. The fuck are y'all talking about? I'll say it, and to all the niggas out there who voted for Donald Trump too, you niggas is tap dancing. Don't get me started on Nicki Minaj. Nobody said Nicki Minaj, but the Barb's gonna try and find me. But Nicki Minaj isn't even an American citizen. That girl
The
is an
Barbs have
immigrant
been
herself.
fucking crickets over the last month or so. They have been
I was
completely silent, so I don't think it
it's
matters anymore.
now
Barbs,
I was
do
gonna
your worst. I
say
don't come at me.
it's been one of the other. It's either been a bunch of Barbs crying that Nicki Minaj is such a bird now, or it's been a bunch of other
Now,
Barbs who are like, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna stand by her. I'm gonna stand by her. It's either one of the two,
yeah,
but the ones who are like standing by her, it's so few now that Barbs aren't as like, because I feel like Barbs are only strong when it's like multiple of them.
yeah.
Now it's like
There's not that many of
not,
them left.
yeah. But I was gonna say, bro, like both of the statements that have been brought up so far, I don't disagree with. I just wouldn't have said it as a white person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, I think narrowing it down that far is kind of the biggest problem.
Uh huh.
Trump is also anti-black,
Extremely.
and there are plenty of black people.
Yeah.
You could apply that to any non-white group of people that voted for Donald Trump. I mean, you could even say that about women, right? That voted for Donald Trump. But like there's less of a reaction. I think that's my biggest issue is like I don't think that she has like a sincerely held like belief behind that statement of like, yeah, I think that all Latinos who voted for Donald Trump have slave mentality. Like I don't think that that's something that she believes. I think it's just something that she felt like saying in the moment. Now, if you're still defending Donald Trump as a Latino person, and I think those people are growing fewer by the day, but yeah,
Right, so she has issues up now.
She added an issue thing. Just another point on the.
But it wasn't for a while.
The Israel thing, like she did the exact same thing Allred just did when people pressed her about the Israel stuff. And she said, "How dare you criticize me? I'm sorry, you're a politician. Remove that from your vocabulary. This, how dare you? Because the truth is, Jasmine Crockett, she says this. I didn't take any money from AIPAC. She's lying." By omission, because when you look at the disclosure form for that trip she took to Israel, to Tel Aviv, it was paid for by the American Israeli Education Foundation. It was signed by a guy named Arne Christensen, who works for fucking AIPAC. So yeah, man, and you can find Arne Christensen all over C-SPAN saying the most gross shit next to Republican politicians with AIPAC behind him on the thing. So like this whole thing where our intelligence is insulted, that we can't say Jasmine Crockett is suspicious on Israel, or Colin Allred ran a mediocre campaign. These self-evident truths that you can't say that because how dare you criticize a black woman or a black man? I'm sorry, this is garbage. This is embarrassing.
It's toxic. And in the same way, you know, the stuff about Plattner's Reddit posts or whatever. I mean, I think people are really sick of these personalized attacks. I mean, Plattner, of course.
I don't love that she keeps tying it to Graham Plattner. Kai, I don't know how much you know about Graham Plattner, but I think the guy is a fucking idiot.
Talk, I don't know much.
He's at least like trying to do the right politics, but he's just got so many red flags that I can't really. I mean, I don't fucking live in Maine. I'm not from Maine, so I can't really say much, but I mean, I don't know. He's just a bit suspicious to me, but
just like responded to it and
for context, he got a Nazi tattoo while he was in the military without knowing it was a Nazi tattoo, and then he got it covered up after getting flamed for it. So just not the brightest guy in the room, if we're being honest. Also, like just him being like so outspoken about being a veteran without like talking about his anti-imperialist values of like, yeah, what I did was wrong. And maybe that's just politics, but I think that if you are going to try and stand out as a progressive, it would be awesome to come out and be like, yeah, I'm an anti-imperialist. I think that the U.S. military should not be involved in all these wars in all these countries. Should have, 800 plus military bases around the world. I think that that's a bad thing. As a veteran, that would be a very powerful statement. But anyways.
Apologize. But the point, like, it didn't hit him in the same way because people are actually interested in what do you stand for. Yeah. And Tallarico Crockett has gone in the opposite direction of what her brand is, as I just elucidated. Like attacking Republicans, she could have been consistent on that and actually been a bit more formidable in this race. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out. But Tallarico has been running for quite a while at this point, and he has an established brand as the antidote to MAGA as somebody who's going to be like a more kind form of Christianity. And it's not my politics. I don't fully share it. But in Texas, I think it's a really good strategy. And the focus on the individual all the time with her, when we are seeing in Minneapolis and across the country, mutual aid, neighborliness, community, people showing up for one another, the like clapback crap and me. I mean, even her campaign ad, which was just about herself, I think she's talented, but I think that her politics are as anathema to the national mood as humanly possible right now.
I just want to skip a little bit forward. This is another part of this where he talks about Tallarico, and apparently that can only be like one. Like, it's not my thing either. I'm pretty anti-religion at this point in 2026. But this is what he says about Tallarico's
This is so
brand.
strange.
This is so bizarre.
Because I know you're not talking about somebody who's been better at 3 things than you've ever been at 1. You are not saving religion for the Democratic Party or the left. We already had Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock for that. We don't need you.
What?
You're not saying anything unique. You're just saying it looking like you do.
Yeah, this is nasty.
That's really
Can we play this? I just find this fascinating.
but Tallarico,
It's just like this is such.
Yeah.
I mean, he is bad at this.
Yeah.
He's just bad at this.
Mediocre's actually kind.
My gosh, honestly, like I am. I don't really feel terribly strongly about Tallarico or Crockett, whichever one's going to win. And I don't know. Maybe that's it's up to Texas to figure out. In my mind, on some level, I don't think it's not obvious to me, anyways. Let's put it that way. But this guy's bad, and if this is part of, and there's no way he's freelancing this, right? They're saying like, here's what we want you to say.
This is the closing month, right? Like,
we need to go after this thing about religion, and so can you make it I mean, obviously this is an attempt to appeal to the black voter in the Democratic nomination fight for Senate in Texas. I have no sense of how that's going to play, but
if Tallarico,
this just feels so like.
It's
inauthentic.
Inauthentic, and like when you push these things, you need to have a narrative that you can hang this stuff on. And the idea that Tallarico is religious because he wants to take over from Raphael Warnock to be the vision of Democrats who are religious is just one of the most. And again, I'm a little bit allergic to the religious stuff, but I can appreciate that it may have more salience in other states. But
the guy's in fucking Georgia.
So ham-fisted. My God, keep going.
Fisted? Who was fisted? I'm joking.
He would have needed to establish Tallarico as some sort of bully or bad guy before this. Like, what Allred's seems like it's coming out of nowhere. I think Tallarico comes out looking better, and anyway, go.
This
To
is
the extent
massively
that
embarrassing.
anybody
for everybody.
watches this
But
except
it's
for
like
us.
Tallarico never said, Raphael Warnock, you are not
I'm
the
coming
leader.
for your IP.
You're not the leader of Christianity in the Democratic Party. It's me now.
Oh, dude, Allred just dropped a new video. I got to check this shit out.
Oh, did he?
No, I'm joking.
Oh,
There's nobody saying that anywhere.
Yeah.
I know. When David told me there's all red news to talk about on Left Freaking, I'm like, why?
And I mean, it leads me to believe that all the people that I saw, and dude, the amount of fucking people I saw on Threads talking about this bullshit, it's like either you got duped or you're in on it, right? You're part of the psyop, because I do think this is somewhat of a ploy to get some reactionary votes for Jasmine Crockett, if I'm being quite honest.
Yes.
Again, even if what he said is 100% true, it's not the best way to put it, but I don't think he's being racist. But a lot of people are going to take it that way. Because again, it's a reactionary quality of liberal voter base. They have not removed themselves from reactionary identity politics. And I think, dude, talking about identity within politics is important. But I mean, to single out one identity as part of your policy or even part of your messaging is, it's a bit small-minded, because if we want to make progress, we have to take everyone into account as far as different marginalized groups and the ways in which they're affected. And a lot of those ways are, again, enabled by capitalism and enabled by imperialism, which have both paved the way for American fascism, right? And now, we see plenty of different marginalized communities under attack. Not only, Latino immigrants, but all kinds of different immigrant groups. And on top of that, even fucking indigenous tribes. There are indigenous people who have been detained by ICE, right? And all of this is it's all part of the same system. So we can't just focus on one group of people. And not to say that we shouldn't talk about issues surrounding equality for black people, but we should also talk about equality across the board and what that should look like. And to dive into this this I mean, it's just a completely counterproductive, completely just, it's a waste of time, right? Because it's just taking away from any improvement of either candidate. Because if they were to actually talk about policy and start taking more of a strong stance on literally anything, I would have much more enthusiasm for this race. But this is what the fuck they're doing. And so, I mean, it does not give me much hope for whoever the winner is. Now, again, I think Jasmine Crockett has a little bit more of a chance to beat whoever the Republican candidate ends up being. But honestly, I hope it ends up being Ken Paxton because he's like the biggest piece of shit slimeball in that primary. And I think if he were to actually make it to the general voter base would completely despise him and he would lose. So that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think it's just a massive waste of time. And it's a bit of a psyop in my opinion.
You know what the word psyop is eerily close and similar to? Cyclops.
Oh, the word psyop.
Psyop and so like whenever we like say psyop, I'm thinking of Leela from Futurama. That's all.
Yes,
Okay.
the biggest
the
biggest psyop right here. Dude, what the fuck is that? Oh god.
Bro, I be watching those AI like what like I don't know if you've ever seen them on like YouTube Shorts or TikTok or even Reels, but like what cartoon characters would look like in real life in like the AI version. And I'm like, damn, this is like cool and everything, but like we just ruined like so many forests just so I could watch this
Yeah.
30-second video.
That's my frustration with all the people that are just like it's one thing to like utilize AI for certain things, like specifically the language, like obviously I think we should not be using ChatGPT across the board. I think we should be boycotting the fuck out of ChatGPT because they're deeply involved with the surveillance state that is being established. We already have a surveillance state, but they're being implemented into our surveillance state in the United States. So I don't think we should be using ChatGPT. But besides the point, I think using an AI model for like certain research purposes, or Diane uses it for like studying and it's really successful and helpful. I think there are certain things, and like there's also like scientific, like I said, research. Like it can do protein folding really well. It can do coding pretty well. Like there are these things that it would be very useful. But then at the end of the day, the thing it's getting used for most is generating like the dumbest fucking images on the internet. For probably the least cognitively functioning humans on the planet. And that's really frustrating because, like you said, it's just it's reopening the hole in the fucking ozone layer. And it's and especially like for all the dumbasses on Twitter that are using Grok, like it's just actively pumping out poison into black community in Memphis. So that's great.
I use AI, especially like with my brain. So like if I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, I have this, and this on my mind. Help me organize it in a very easy way to read so that I can complete this task. And I feel like that's how AI was meant to be used. It's meant to be like Jarvis from fucking Iron Man. The shit wasn't made to make all these damn stupid ass pictures and videos and be used for art and shit.
Yeah,
That's
no, I mean
not
that's like the last thing it should be for. What it should be for, right, is to help make less work for the population in general, right? that way we can spend more time being more creative and doing other hobbies and whatnot. But that's another. Yo, Hefner in the chat. I came through by the Michigan tag. What's up, big dog? Yeah, I'm in the Lansing area. Good to see you though. Like Sam Cedar, he's a good bean. Yeah. We're talking about the Texas Senate drama. I'm from Texas, so that's why this is relevant. But yeah, we're just going through that. But we're talking about AI currently. But yeah, I mean, the problem with AI in the way the United States exists in this current moment is that the richest people obviously have control over it because they're the ones that are funding it. They're the ones that are putting all the research into it and investing, hundreds of millions of dollars into it. But they are just utilizing it to replace their workforce, to just, completely undermine their workforce. So it's putting people out of jobs, and it's not like the people that still work in those work environments are not seeing any benefits from it. So, like for example, Amazon is looking to replace their workforce entirely by AI controlled robots, humanoid robots. That's fucking crazy. That's insane. That should not, and like, I'm not even against the whole idea of humanoid robots having AI, but in a privatized setting where you're just displacing the labor force instead of uplifting those people and putting them in a less labor intensive spot and still, providing them with a living, right? That's insane. And I think that's another really depressing factor in this late stage capitalist reality that we live in.
And also, I want to just say something because you bringing this up and then also like talking about immigration and ICE. All the niggas who are like, oh my God, like they're coming into our country committing crimes, they're taking our jobs. Nigga, no, AI is taking our jobs. The immigrants that you were afraid of taking all our, American jobs. No, nigga, you're literally getting replaced by Wally.
I saw a tweet or like a thread or something that was like, y'all, Wally was not an instruction manual. It was a warning. I need y'all to start acting like it.
Nah, like that.
Yeah. That's the future we're headed towards.
That's literally where we're at, honestly.
Live near Detroit. Shout out Hefner, bro. Shout out Detroit area. Hey, hope you're tapped in with our Senate race up here in Michigan. If you want more information on Abdul El Sayed, I can tab you on his info. Yeah, and also if you need to register to vote, go ahead and make sure you do that. Our primary is coming up in March, I believe. So, yeah, shouts out to Michigan.
Unique, you're just saying it looking like you do. Okay?
Toxic.
Oh, he thinks he's cooking.
And third of all, let me just say to all the young black men out there, all the young men come from tough background, struggle growing up.
Don't listen to people like Colin Allred would be my advice.
Wait. I think we know that the big knock on Tallarico is that he talks like he thinks he's the only one who's into religion. He's got that type of like arrogance.
All the young black men out there, don't let anyone tell you ran a mediocre campaign after it was clear that you fucking did it.
And here's some crypto wallets.
Grow up. This is such an embarrassment to the Democratic Party in Texas.
It's toxic.
Well, you can't blame them for him doing this. Go ahead.
We're more.
Who maybe think that someday you want to put yourself forward as a leader in your community. It's going to have haters like this are going to show up.
I'm sorry, bro. Haters.
And jump twice as high and talk twice as well. But you don't have to. You can walk out there with your shoulders back and your head held up high, knowing who you are and the value that you bring, and understanding that this comes with the territory, and that there's going to be folks like this.
Is he talking to himself right now?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's no theory of collectivism. It's all me, clap back, feud. Let's get some attention on this race.
You're
by
individually
having some,
validated as
you know,
a heroic individual. Get out of here.
It is like again. I was feeling hypocritical because I was loving Ilhan Omar's like clapbacks with Trump, where she spoke about herself a lot, versus when I can't stand when Hakeem Jeffries tries to like create a feud with Trump and makes it about himself. But like, you know, as long as that's speaking to some sort of theory of collective change, I don't have a problem with politicians using their own story for that.
Well,
But this is actually like,
Kai, I don't know if you know who Ilhan Omar is.
I do not.
Ilhan Omar is hold on. Probably the best congressperson in the entire country. Hold on. Yeah, she got fucking like ran up on by this fucking chud moron at this
Fronted by a man sitting in the front row and sprayed
fuck
with
ate me?
liquid after calling for the
Sorry.
abolishment of ICE and impeachment of
I'm playing
DHS
Holio.
Secretary Kristi Noem.
Everybody settle down. I'm going to finish my remarks.
Representative Omar taking to social media afterwards, saying in part, "I'm okay, I'm a survivor, so this small agitator isn't going to intimidate me from doing my work. I don't let bullies win." That bully identified as 55-year-old Andy Kazmierczak of South Minneapolis, arrested and booked on
You Russian?
third-degree assault charges. The social media channels
he's like
racist, anti-black, and
if he is, he's not like first generation.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy is like if Elon Musk wasn't a billionaire, like that's this guy. Like just mad at immigrants, mad at the world. Super reactionary, super dumb, has queer kids that hate him, like thinks that everything is, you know, a conspiracy against people like him, and is mad at people like Ilhan Omar. And yeah, I mean, he just does his dumb bullshit, and apparently has a crazy drinking problem. I think he has like 10 DUIs or some bullshit, which is insane that you can get to 10. I don't know if it's possible, but yeah.
Me, I had a drinking problem.
Can't even drive.
anti-democrat content.
Nigga, fuck you.
Saying whatever he doused the
Dream
congressman on
over.
Tuesday was not toxic.
The preliminary reports we have.
No, but I just squaring.
Yes.
But yeah, she's fucking. I think she's an example that anyone in politics can follow. Because everything at the end of the day for her is about her community. Even people that hate her, she wants to like make their lives better. And I think that's awesome. And also she's in Minneapolis, right? It's like she's kind of at the epicenter of all, you know, ICE raids. Like Renee Good and Alex Preddy were both her constituents.
Mhm.
So she's kind of been at the center of a lot of this stuff. And I mean, Trump has been like personally coming after her. I think it's just Trump is Trump is just such a baby, dude.
Bernie bros were causing all the infighting. Are you joking?
Well, yeah.
And they do it on a basis, and the Bernie infighting within the party was about policy and material changes. With this wing of the party, it's feuds in between people, and will actually exacerbate for some reason racial divides when we are trying to have a multiracial coalition coming together in this moment of fascism. I mean, it's so self-serving and so antithetical to everything that I think a lot of people are feeling in this country.
It's
right
just, you know, it's Hillary Clinton. Do you think
The only people that this shit was like a hard-hitting message for is people who are completely out of touch. And I don't think that has any basis on identity. I think that there are plenty of people who are out of touch with politics these days that just are kind of sleepwalking through life and that want to participate in this election but don't know enough about politics to really have a. They don't have any principles. They just kind of go off of vibes. Which unfortunately is like a lot of people, but yeah, I think it's big with that kind of crowd. Again, people that just don't really think about politics, kind of react to politics, but maybe have some like more liberal values to a certain degree.
Pure racism. It's just the same shit.
It's also just so poorly executed and conceived. I mean, there's it's just bad retail politics.
No vision, no focus.
Much else to say on the issue. I mean, we'll see how it kind of rolls out leading up to the primary. At the end of the day, I don't think either of them have too big of a margin over the other when it comes to the general election. So at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters which person wins. I think it's a pretty from a beating the Republicans and overturning the seat point of view, I think that it's very hopeful. But again, I don't know what that looks like after the election. I don't know either of them. I don't know what they will actually be able to implement as far as like positive material change for anyone in Texas or in the country. So I don't know. I'm a little bit agnostic to this race, but at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I think maybe Jasmine Crockett might have a little bit more of a penchant for like changing her position, but it's going to take it's going to take a real grassroots movement that is specifically speaking to Texas politicians to really make that impact. And that's kind of my fear, is that that's not going to happen in any meaningful capacity, unfortunately.
That's real as fuck. I was gonna say to all the people out there, Jake said something earlier, especially about people wanting to get involved, but also not knowing or understanding how to get involved. Let me just say something too that I feel like is very important to know. I know there's a lot of people out there who they don't know how to get involved. They don't know anything about like politics, and whilst them trying to learn about politics, they hear so many contradicting thoughts that they just get so fatigued that they just end up not voting because they feel like not voting is easier than voting and actually thinking. If you're one of those people out there, bitch, shut the fuck up, vote. Actually register to vote. Like, actually, like, I understand, oh, it's too much to think. Bitch, stop, okay? If
I
you
mean,
can
yeah,
sit in school, you can graduate, you can get your GED, you can make a fucking decision about what's the lesser of two evils, how you feel. Don't let Jake or my opinion or anyone other's opinion, dictate you from making a decision, because it's better to stand for something than it is to stand for nothing. And if you stand for nothing, then you're just a no spine, limp dick ass bitch. And no one wants that. Girl or guy, them or they, girl or gay, and everyone in between. Y'all vote. Please.
And if you want to get more involved, if you're already at that point, like you've been voting and you feel like that's not enough, find more local politicians that you can get tapped in with. Find local organizations. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's there's DSA organizations within Texas. I personally put a label on me. I would call myself a socialist. Wouldn't call myself a like Marxist Leninist or anything. I'm not. I have yet to really dive into literature, but I do think that we need to move away from where we're at with this current setup that we have. I think the zenith of that is the Epstein files. Everything that's in the Epstein files has been enabled by capitalism. So I'll let that speak for itself. But if you want to get involved, find some organizations or create organizations, create coalitions, even if it's like within your neighborhood or within your apartment complex or within, what other, if you're in school, if you have like um, classmates that have a similar thoughts as you, and you want to form especially when it comes to ice, if you want to do like um, just like mutual aid or rapid response or any of these things. There are plenty of resources online. Um, Obviously, be careful about communicating about certain things, but yeah, just find people in your community have a similar mindset and establish connections with those people. Yeah, and you will find a way to get involved in a meaningful way. And meaningful does not have to be huge. Meaningful does not have to be something grand and fucking, you're changing the world, right? Meaningful can mean you help, I don't know, you help find a home for somebody that's homeless, somebody that's unhoused. Or you help uh you start a carpool group. That way, you're both saving on gas, and maybe if somebody doesn't have a ride, you're saving them some time, helping them get to their job, school, or whatever. It just little things like that. If enough people are participating in those kinds of actions, then society will improve. And obviously, I think we all do need to be involved in politics as well, because politics affects everybody's lives on a day-to-day basis, and specifically within the U.S., our politics affect the whole world, except for places like Russia and China and North Korea, right? But pretty much everywhere else is impacted by our politics. Maybe like Iran, I guess, but even then, we're about to bomb the fuck out of Iran. So, anyways, getting involved in politics in the U.S., I know it can seem um, insurmountable, but just find something that you're interested in. Find an issue that you're interested in. Talk to activists who are already knowledgeable on these issues and that want to teach you. Because that's the thing, is like people who are activists, they want to teach people. They want to share what it is that they are already so passionate about. Um, like for instance, somebody like a movement that I am interested in getting to know more about is land back movement for indigenous tribes, and I think that's a really pertinent thing to be knowledgeable on. And so I'm looking for people who are activists for land back movements in my local area. And so that's just an example of like how to find out more. And again, just having any small participation can go a long way. Don't lose hope. Um, I do have faith that we will make it through this. Obviously, things are devolving every day. Please stay safe, of course. Um, look out for those people around you in your community. And yeah, just have hold on to some optimism. It can seem hard. I know, like, I mean, we are kind of just living in hell right now. Things suck everywhere, but I don't know. I'm like I have a brain worm. I feel as though things will be all right eventually. I know it might take a long time, but I think we can make it through the other side of it. So yeah, just stay optimistic. Uh, Knowledge is power as well. Try to learn something new about history, about, like I said, any form of activism. Try to find a new thing to learn about. Hi, if you have anything you want to say, if you want to plug before we off the stream.
I was going to say, especially, I second a lot of things that Jake was saying. Especially if you're a black person out there, pick up a fucking book. And I'm saying this with the most love, but there is a stigma that if you want to hide anything from a black person, you put it in a book because black people don't read shit unless it's in the shade room text. And I really, really, really need my people to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and stop being a tool in white supremacy and just spreading propaganda that does not even just not even like just for the betterment of other people, but also for our people specifically. Because I've been noticing, especially a lot when it comes to so much that's going on, a lot of people not caring until it directly affects them. Then they're like, oh shit, this shit fucked up. Like, no, nigga, this is what people have been trying to tell you for a really, really, really long time. Try and stay educated as much as you possibly can. I know knowledge is power. I can understand why some people like really don't want to think. Thinking hurts. It's like you always got thoughts in your brain. Like, have you ever actually met a stupid person? Like someone who's like willingly stupid and they don't have a thought in the world? Like, actually think. Let's use our brains, guys. Let's turn them on. Let's read a book. Let's touch some grass. Let's make some good decisions. Let's be kind. I think that's all I have to say. I think I was just talking.
Dude, my bad. Yeah, I second everything that she just said as well. I can speak specifically to yeah. Pick up a book. I think that's great advice. Just find something to read that's, not fictional. Or even if it is fiction, if it's great example, great book, pertinent, very it was a sign of the times. I mean, obviously it's 2026, not 1984, but I think it's a very apt prediction. But anyways,
Well,
I
actually, I would argue people should also read fiction as well. Because also,
yeah.
too, reading can also be a good form of escape. A lot of us are probably fucking depressed because we spend all day scrolling on our phones, but we don't have a form of escape that's outside of this blue light, you know? So
Yeah, and
actually, read a
yeah.
book,
Yeah,
even if it's
even
fictional.
even if it's fictional, and that goes for, gamers too. I would say, I think gaming it is also a decent escape. But
Addictive.
it's addictive and it's not as enriching as something like
You know
I
what book?
sometimes I will find myself trying to escape through a video game, will just waste an entire day. Whereas if I had been reading that whole day, I think I would feel a lot better, and I also would have probably taken breaks and done some chores and right, eat my meals and go to the gym and shit like that. Whereas if I'm just gaming all day, it's less likely to happen. So to my gamers out there, like, and gaming is fine, like, but just don't let it be your only escape, and don't let it be the thing that most. It is. It's a good thing to enjoy, but I think we also need to cut back on specifically our technology related um vices, if you, especially social media. I think social media was a mistake. I think never should have had social media. I think it is the um I don't know. I think it's just bricked brains of a lot of people. Obviously, it can be good for certain things when it comes to, staying in community with people, but just try not to doom scroll to the best of your
You
ability.
know what? Do you know what book all of this makes you want to go reread?
Uh,
Let's see if you can guess. How much you want to bet you can't guess?
I don't think I can, but I'm gonna try.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. I know you've read the book too, like for a fact,
That's
actually.
what I'm thinking of. Is like,
Five, four, three,
uh,
two, one. A Tale of Two Cities.
Oh wait, what?
I don't know
Okay,
why.
okay. Give me a reason. Oh, just like as a good book.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you, for starters, because I don't really remember what the book was about. All I remember is it was a good book.
It's a great book.
It was that book and The Count of Monte Cristo, which, for
That one is
instance,
so fucking good.
I love that book so much because as a real bitch who holds grudges forever, I feel like that's the first book I've ever read where I've actually fully been seen as an individual. Like that
Yeah.
is some shit that I
That's
would
like
do
probably the best like revenge story ever
of all
written. I think
time
that book is so good. If you haven't read The Count of Monte Cristo, find that shit. Go to your library,
and read it.
check it out, read that.
Now, granted, no spoilers, or actually, this is a spoiler. So if you hate spoilers, then close your ears. But
Mute, click
I was,
off.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, the one thing that was frustrating about that book is how long it took for him to get his revenge.
Yeah.
But just considering how he executed it and everything, it was perfect. It was worth it.
It was great catharsis. Like the end of the book.
It, it wasn't it on some double Jeopardy type shit, or did I make that up with a different book?
Um,
Like the nigga couldn't get trialed for it twice.
I think there's like a specific thing that like it had to do with why he was initially in prison. You might be correct.
Jeopardy.
I think that makes. That's a great book.
I said,
I think that's gonna be my next like fictional read after before. That's probably
yes, that book was so perfect. It's a good book. Two really good books. All right, that's all Kaya has to say.
yeah. Out of gas, but appreciate everybody watching. Shout out Hefner in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you watching all the way through. I really appreciate it, and also I really want to thank Kai again for hopping on the stream. You're gonna see more of us. We got some things in the works. We're looking to start a podcast in the coming days, weeks, and months. So yeah, just keep your eye out. Yeah, like and subscribe on the video, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. See you in the next video.